My plan for schoolyard fame was perfect. All I had to do was get caught chewing gum in Miss Scarpa's class. Now, when I was in the 4th grade, Miss Scarpa had been teaching for over 30 years, and she wore the same thing every day. She was a short woman, had her gray hair pulled back in a bun, and she wore a white blouse, a blue blazer, matching handbag, white gloves, and blue shoes. Every day. That was her uniform. Miss Scarpa was a woman of routine, of standards, and she was not to be messed with. She was short, but she was fierce. Now, everyone knew if you got caught chewing gum in Miss Scarpa's class, what would happen. She would call the offending boy up to the front of the room, and this was 1958, before girls caused any trouble. And the poor child would know what he was about to face, and he would slump up to the front of the room, and she would ask him 2 questions. Are you chewing gum? Yes, Miss Scarpa. And then she'd ask the second question. Did you bring enough for everyone? No, Miss Scarpa. And then she would have the poor child take the gum out of his mouth, stick it on his nose, and stand in the corner. Now, this was sufficiently humiliating, even for an 8-year-old boy, so as to curtail gum-chewing activity in the room for quite a long time. But for all of that, I was interested in her second question. Did you bring enough for everyone? Wasn't Miss Scarpa saying that it was perfectly okay to chew gum in school so long as you brought enough for everyone? I mean, why even ask the question? So I resolved to test this theory. Now, back in 1958, a pack of gum had 5 sticks in it and cost a nickel. There was 27 other students, with Miss Scarpa, 28, 29 myself. I would need 6 packs of gum, 30 cents. 30 cents would fund my social experiment. But where was I going to get 30 cents? I mean, I was in 4th grade. I couldn't compete with the older boys in the neighborhood mowing lawns and raking leaves or shoveling walks or anything like that. I was going to have to give up my dream. And then I remembered every Sunday my parents gave me 15 cents to put in the collection basket at church. If I kept a nickel, in 6 weeks I'd have my money. But could I do that? I mean, could I shortchange Jesus to buy gum to share with my classmates? Sharing is good. Sharing is a core Christian value. And besides, did God really need my nickel? I mean, 2/3 of the money was going to its intended purpose. Miss Scarpa taught us fractions that year. 2/3 of the money was going for the intended purpose. It seemed that God could make up the difference with the nickel far easier than could I. So 6 weeks later, I walked into class in Miss Scarpa's room with my pockets bulging with packs of bright yellow juicy fruit gum. And I was chewing gum in Miss Scarpa's class. I was chewing gum obviously. I was chewing gum flagrantly. I was chewing gum while raising my hand to answer questions in Miss Scarpa's class. Finally, she called me to the front of the room, and I bounded up to the front of the room, and I stood there happily. She asked question number 1, are you chewing gum? Yes, Miss Scarpa, I am. Now, my answer should have given her pause, but the poor woman was going on 30 years of habit, and she went right on to question number 2. Did you bring enough for everyone? Yes, Miss Scarpa, I did. And she staggered backward. "You brought enough for everyone?" And I reached into my pocket and said, "Yes, Miss Scarpa, juicy fruit!" At the words juicy fruit, the entire class erupted into laughter. This brought Miss Scarpa around. She looked at the class and said, "Quiet, class." They got quiet, and she sent me off to the principal's office. This was not working out the way I had planned. So I got to the principal's office. I had been there before. And the principal said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "Well, I don't know. I was chewing gum in Miss Scarpa's class, and she asked me if I brought enough for everyone. And when I told her I did," he said, you brought enough for everyone?" That seemed to upset everybody. I said, "Yes, juicy fruit." And his eyes flashed angrily. I said, "Well, maybe I should have brought Wrigley gum. I don't know." So he said, "Wait here." So I waited. He went to talk to Miss Scarpa, apparently. Came back a few minutes later, smiling in a way that made me very uncomfortable. And he said, how much gum did you bring?" I said, "6 packs. He said, "There are 245 students in this school. There's the janitor, the school nurse, and there's 9 teachers. There's myself and my secretary. You didn't bring enough for everyone." So he took the gum away from me, and I went back to Miss Scarpa's class. And she never mentioned the incident, and she never asked that second question again. So, I was defrauded by the man, prevented from doing what I wanted to do, but at least I didn't end up in the corner with gum on my nose when I got schooled. Thank you.